Instead of having knee-jerk reactions to things in your life, whenever a situation occurs, ask yourself, what would the person that you created do in this situation? And do everything in your power to consistently think, speak, and act from the place of your future self. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dominique Davis, also known as Brown and Bendy. And here on this channel, we practice flexibility of the mind, the body, and the spirit. Today, we are going to talk about the secret behind manifesting and choices that you can make to make shifting into your new reality even easier. But before we get to this, I just want to make sure that I ask you, if you're not already, please make sure that you subscribe as well as click the notification bell so that you can be notified when I create new uploads. Also, if you would like to join our community on a more intimate level, you know what I'm saying, go ahead and request to join our Facebook group, the Manifestation Yoga Collective. I will put the words on the screen right here. Okay, let's just get right into the video. The secret to manifesting. I have talked, oh my goodness, baby kicks. Oh, okay, here we go. I have talked about the secret to manifesting many times on my channel, but I like to reapproach subjects because every day I get a little bit of life experience, so maybe I have a different way to articulate this point to you. The secret behind manifesting and effortlessly shifting realities is changing your identity and then learning to act from this new identity. It works every time, I promise. Let's talk about it. So a couple weeks ago, we were talking really heavily about belief systems and the importance of belief systems in our lives. Our belief systems determine every single choice that we make, as well as every single opinion that we have. So when a person changes their belief system, they change their perspective and in turn change their personality. What we are discussing today is the personality aspect of this equation, the identity aspect of this equation. If you want to know a little bit more about belief systems, I do have a two-part series about belief systems that I will link down in the description box if you want a little bit more background info. The meat of what we are discussing today is how we change our thoughts. When you change your thoughts, you change your choices. When you change your choices, you change your reality. But oftentimes, the difficult part of this is figuring out what thoughts to think in order to shift into this new person. That is why it is so important to know the identity of the person that you want to become so that you can make choices from the perspective of that person. I'd like to talk very quickly about personal power. I want to remind you right now in this moment that this is your life. Even though external things may happen in our lives, we always have to come back to the fact that our lives are our own and no one else's. Every choice we make affects us. Everything that happens to us affects us and no one else. Your life is your life, and there is a responsibility that comes with having a life. And that responsibility is nurturing your sense of personal power. A person who does not nurture their own sense of personal power will never be able to confidently make decisions for themselves, nor will they be able to confidently change their lives. Because a person who does not understand their personal power is not able to understand how deeply they are in control of their experience. Oftentimes, people who do not grasp personal power tend to lean into victim mentality. In relevance to this video, strengthening your sense of personal power allows you to define the person that you want to be. It gives you the permission to start to imagine, using your imagination. Owning your sense of personal power allows you to give yourself permission to create the person that you want to become. If you do not own your sense of personal power, it becomes so easy to fall into the trap of, I am the way I am. My circumstances made me this way. I will never change. But once you connect to your own sense of self and you realize that everything that you experience from here going forward is up to you, once you realize that, you are able to take control of your own narrative and realize that you call the shots. So whoever you decide that you want to be, you will be. So from this place, I am asking you to use your imagination to create a character. Depending on how much you want to change about your reality, this will determine how much of a shift you are making. If you love everything about your life, except you want a little bit more money, just a little bit, then when you create this character, you will identify with this character because you're not trying to change much about your life. This character will simply be a version of you that makes more money. You with more money. That is the person that you are shifting into. So going forward, when you are making decisions about money, you think, what would the me who is already financially successful do in this situation? That gives you the opportunity to act as if you already have an abundance of money. So that means that when you get the opportunity to spend money that isn't necessary, you can think to yourself, I have $15,000 in my checking account. Do I want to buy this shirt? And you may say to yourself, no, because I have tons of shirts like that. As opposed to emotional spending, when you can have nothing, almost nothing in your savings account. But because that makes you anxious, because that makes you feel less than, you all of a sudden want to buy the shirt because it's validating you. You don't need validation when you already have the money. So be the person who already has the money. Now, that was just an example. Hopefully you understand that I don't mean that if you buy the shirt, you're good with money or you're not good with money. I was just painting a picture, if you will. So that is the more modest approach to identifying who you want to be and shifting into that person. Now, if we're talking about a more hardcore, extreme life change, let's take it back to that character that we were talking about. If we take it back, the person that you are creating, this character, you may not identify with at all. If you are trying to create a new life for yourself from scratch, that means that you are attempting to become a person that thinks completely different thoughts. And it is important that you acknowledge that so that you know how much effort you're going to have to put in. If you want a whole reality change, define the reality you want. Then define the person that you need to be to maintain that reality. Going forward, make choices from the place of that person. Instead of having knee-jerk reactions to things in your life, whenever a situation occurs, ask yourself, what would the person that you created do in this situation? And do everything in your power to consistently think, speak, and act from the place of your future self. When you make choices from the perspective of the new you, you are actually rewiring your brain. It is the most phenomenal, amazing process. And the human mind is spectacular. And what's even more amazing is that I have started to revisit my letter to my subconscious, and I even helped my husband write his own. And after a few days of him having it, I asked him, I was like, do you feel anything? And he was like, yeah. And I just looked at him and I was like, isn't the brain amazing? Because this isn't an emotional process. This is simply defining what you want to be and telling your brain, we are doing this now. I don't have time for a different type of life. This is the life that I'm claiming for myself, and these are the actions that we are going to take to get there, period. So for example, let's say that you are a person who has never really had a lot of friends. You don't know why. You've just never had a lot of friends. Let's say that a part of this new reality, a part of the you that you see yourself being, is a person who has an abundance of friends, who is very social and finds herself in a lot of social situations thriving. That's the new reality. When you claim this new reality for yourself, you will think from the place of a person who has a lot of friends. This will change the way you move throughout life. All of a sudden, when people interact with you, when people approach you, you will have a choice. You can act from the place of a person who believes that they are not capable of having normal, pleasant social interactions, so that when you are approached, you are insecure, you are nervous, you are anxious. Or when you are approached, you have the choice to do the best that you can to understand how a person with a bigger social circle would react in this situation. My favorite example of this is learning how to go from being a hater to being a congratulator. I think that's a big part of maturing for men and women. A lot of times in high school, we can create this mentality that we have to compare ourselves to others in order to feel validated. So as we grow up, we realize that other people's success has nothing to do with our own. So unfortunately, some people never get to that lesson. So as they get older and older, they start to see everyone as their competition, and in turn, they have a very poor social life. So an example of how to get through this, jump to the other side, jump to the new reality, is when being approached, when someone speaks to you, be prepared for the mental noise of, they're just being fake. They're just trying to know my business. They want something out of this conversation. Blah, blah, blah. Let all that pass and instead compliment the person genuinely. When you're on Instagram, when you're on social media, while you're scrolling, instead of judging everything you see, that person can go from judging to finding something positive about every single post that they see and leave a positive comment. Because that is what's going to help that person better understand how to sustainably be a person who has successful social interactions. This is not a magic wand. This is trial and error. But by creating the person, the identity that you want to step into, you are creating a game plan. And that game plan is so, so powerful during this time of trial and error, because you're shifting from one personality to another. So there's going to be some things that you have to figure out, but having direction will make you more confident in this process and more confident about the person that you're becoming. It gives you motivation because you know the person that you are dedicated to becoming and living this life as. So even though it's not an overnight process, it is still fulfilling because you know the life that you'll be attracting to yourself while you step into this new place. Before we end this video, I would like to caution you to watch out for resistance. Be aware of resistance. The moment you make the choice to step into a new identity, you are telling your mind, hey, I know we've been doing everything one way for the past 30 years or however old you are. I know we've been doing everything one way for this amount of time, but I'm not happy. So I want to do everything this way from now on. And your brain's going to be like, does not compute. What? We don't have proof that this new way works, but we have plenty of proof that this old way is the most sustainable way of life for us. Your brain will tell you that every new choice that you make is wrong. And if you're aware of it, you can move through it. But if you listen to your brain, if you listen to the fear, then you're going to be stuck in the same place with no change and no growth. So instead, practice awareness when you start to make choices from this new you. You are stepping into uncharted territory, and it's okay to be scared. It's okay to be nervous. But knowing that the anxiety is coming makes it so much more easy to manage. Let's hop back to that last example very quickly. Let's say that you are a person who's trying to learn how to be more social. So you decide to compliment almost every person you see. The first person that you compliment, one, it'll probably be the most bizarre, awkward compliment ever because you're not used to complimenting people. Two, after you compliment this person, you will be so hyper aware of their reaction because you'll be expecting them to not take your compliment and instead have a negative reaction because you're used to negative social reactions. So after that moment's over, even though you've given this person a compliment, you will be waiting for a negative reaction because that's the life that you were living. Be prepared for that and learn to find peace with that, because there will be a lot of those moments of expecting negative things to happen because that has been your past. There will be tons of those moments while you are learning how to rewire your brain. But eventually, I'm just laughing because it's so nice. Eventually, after you make enough decisions from this new place, you realize that the negative things that you're waiting for aren't going to happen. Because now you're making choices from a place of love for yourself. Now you're making choices to intentionally be who makes you happy, not who you were conditioned to be. So the negative things never actually happen. So you start off preparing for all this negativity, and then over time you realize, no, life is really this good. And it really is. Remember, your new life lies within the choices that you've never made before. A different life is a new experience. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to be nervous. Just be aware of these emotions as you move forward, because you are capable of anything that you want. You are capable of obtaining anything that you want. So I hope you hear me. I hope you feel me. I love you so much. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up so other people on YouTube know that it is valuable and that they should watch it. If you would like me to expand on anything that I've talked about in today's video, just let me know down below in the comments and I'll be happy to reference it in a future video. Last but not least, please make sure that you are subscribed and that you click that notification bell so that you may join the Bendy Bunch and become a reality bender yourself. I love you with my entire heart, and I am so excited about you achieving your dreams and achieving the life that brings you the most fulfillment, because more happy people make a better world. And that's what I'm all about, man. Okay, I love you guys so much. I'll see you next upload. Bye.